Hello, and welcome to episode 257 of the Fab Female Nutrition Podcast. I'm your host, Wendy Hill. I'm a nutritional therapist and an expert in female hormone health. And I support women who are maybe getting squashed from each side in that middle time of life where everything seems to become a little bit too much to handle. And you're trying to juggle so many balls, spin so many plates that you just feel like everything is becoming overwhelming. I take out the noise. I want to make things easier. So I am your trusted expert. I've done the training, I've done the research. All you need to do is listen to the podcast and take away what works for you today. This month, so each month we have a different theme, and this month we're talking about common menopause symptoms and things that you have asked me about that happen in perimenopause and menopause, why they happen, and what we can do about them. And today we are talking about hot flushes and night sweats. Why is it that your internal thermostat seems to go haywire? It's a common one. This is one that happened to me, and what I would say is it's an often an early sign of perimenopause. Just to clarify, perimenopause is the whole period up to your menopause, and this is when you tend to get your most severe symptoms. So although we use the term quite a lot, menopausal symptoms, it's actually perimenopausal symptoms. Menopause is literally one day in your life. It is the day when you have not had a period for 12 months. Up until that time, you are in, or when you're having dysregulation, you are in perimenopause, and it can happen earlier than you think. I generally say once you get to 40, if you are feeling symptoms, then you are perimenopausal, that you are likely to be perimenopausal anyway, whether you're symptomatic or not. And night sweats for me was one of the first things that started to happen, but I didn't know that this was happening at the time. I didn't know that this was perimenopausal symptoms. And I would wake up in the middle of the night, soaking wet, and think I'd had a bad dream. And then because I was suffering with anxiety as well, perimenopausal anxiety, I would then lie in bed and I would play back all of the conversations that I'd had the day before and think about how I might have reacted differently, what that person might have been meaning, what the underlying message was in in that meeting or in that email or whatever it was, overplay everything. Then I would then start to think about what was happening the following day and play through situations. How would I react if someone said this? How would I react if this happened? What's the best way to handle this? I've got to make that phone call. How do I do that? How do I write that email? Literally, no wonder I didn't sleep. And I really struggled with it. Luckily, we are now talking about perimenopause and perimenopausal symptoms. It's much more of a common conversation. And I think if it had been at the time, I would have known what was happening to me. I would have known what was going on, but I didn't. Eventually, I did some training and I worked out that's what it was. And I noticed that my symptoms improved. And certainly for me, I know now what my kind of triggers are. And for you listening to this podcast, if you are feeling that you're getting either day sweats or night sweats, I sometimes get day sweats now. I'm postmenopausal. I'm 53. I'm definitely postmenopausal. I haven't had a period, for at least 3 years. I'm definitely postmenopausal, but I still sometimes get daytime and nighttime sweats. But they are symptomatic of my environment. So what I am feeding myself and how I am taking care of my body, and they are symptomatic of that. And if I look after myself, eat well, do all the things, I don't get them. But if I don't, I get them. It's interesting, isn't it? We're not after perfection, but I think it's really interesting to understand your body better and be able to have that honest conversation with yourself, because it's nobody else's business, but to have that honest conversation with yourself and say, I know if I do X, Y, or Z, that the result is going to be this. So for me, I know that if I have more than a couple of glasses of wine, one glass of wine maybe, that I am going to get night sweats. I know that if I have a couple of days where I'm not eating really well, maybe consuming too much alcohol, I'm thinking holidays, things like that, not exercising, then I know that I will probably get daytime hot flushes. If I've been in quite a stressful situation for a few days, I might get daytime hot flushes. I know this is what happens with me. It might be for you that it's if you eat too much sugar, if you have, if you eat too much processed food that you might find it happening. But it's understanding where it is for you. So let's break this down. Why do hot sweats happen? Why do hot flushes and night sweats? We tend to call them hot flushes and night sweats. I don't. Same thing, just happen at different times of the day, but we tend to label them slightly differently. And some people will find that they only have them in the day and only have them at night. It's quite common. Like I said, mine were mostly in the night and occasionally get them in the day now, which is interesting. As I've gone further through my journey, it's become more of a daytime thing for me. We're all different. It's caused by a dysregulation in your internal thermostat. So it's not an external, it's an external reaction. Your skin gets hot and clammy because your body is trying to cool down, but it's actually an internal thermostat issue. So you're not actually hot. Your body thinks you are. Strange, I know. And it's the hypothalamus. And we think we're not really 100% sure, but we think it's due to fluctuated estrogen levels, which makes sense because of when it happens. It's due to the fact that we are having dysregulation and your body wants to be calm, be level at all times. And if you get dysregulation, what happens is your body's constantly trying to reset. And if it can't when it's time to reset, it sometimes overcompensates and over reset and kind of over adjusts. And we think this is why we get that sort of hypothalamus issue. Your body mistakenly thinks you're overheating. It triggers sweating and blood vessel dilation, which is what cools you down. And then that's why you get that hot flush. You get that sudden rising of temperature and then this hot sweat thing. It's frustrating. It can feel quite random, but it is a brain response. It's not happening on the skin. It's not the temperature in the room. The temperature in the room can help you feel cooler, but actually it's inside, not outside. Big lifestyle triggers to watch for. I've already said alcohol for me is a big one. Sugar is another one that can cause these night sweats. I wore a blood glucose monitor and it was very clear that when I didn't eat well in the day, when I consumed more sugar and more processed foods in the day, the dysregulation in my glucose happened throughout the night. If I ate a lovely whole food diet, a healthy diet at nighttime, my glucose was level because I wasn't processing food. There was no reason for that insulin to change. But when I'd not eaten a healthy diet, when I'd consumed a much less healthy diet throughout the night, my body was making minor adjustments because it still hadn't found that lovely playing field. Then the next day, if I ate well, the following night, it was nice and level. So it shows that if you are eating an unhealthy diet and you continue to do this day after day after day, your body is still adjusting glucose and insulin throughout the night. This is one of the reasons that we believe why we get those night sweats. Alcohol is a sugary food, so your liver is trying to detoxify. And again, your body's trying to get that regularity and it's doing this waviness, which causes that dysregulation. It's skipping meals as well, grazing on snacks, not a good idea. Really thinking about that balance play. If you're hungry or if you're fatigued, because fatigue is a common thing that we tend to find. If you're fatigued, I won't say tab, but fatigued, and you go and reach for a snack to give you some energy, even that needs to be balanced. So think about protein, think about fiber, about fat, making sure that you've got plenty of fat and fiber in there, healthy fats in there, and protein in there, because it will slow how quickly your body processes that food and therefore how quickly the energy is released into the body. So instead of getting a spike again, we'll get a nice level. Remember, we're constantly, this is the thing is, if you care for your body, if you give it the things that it needs, your body wants balance. Your body wants things to be calm. And so if you can feed your body well, have 3 healthy meals, healthy, balanced meals a day, you will be calmingly giving your body the nutrients that it needs. You don't have to have perfection, but if you are constantly thinking, what is going to be the impact of this meal that I'm going to eat? Is there a positive impact or is there a negative impact? Is there a positive impact of this snack or a negative impact on this snack? And if you just find ways to make whatever it is that you're consuming more positive, have a more positive impact on your body, you are nourishing it. She will thank you for it. Caffeine is also a bit of a trigger as well. So try not to have it late at night. It can help with the night sweats, and it can make daytime flushes worse as well. I've definitely known that. If I'm a bit jittery, I've had a bit too much coffee, then I notice that I'm much more inclined to get it. I think to get day sweats, I think it's also down to that kind of I'm fight or flight. I'm not activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which is another big one. So chronic stress can does increase your levels of adrenaline and cortisol. And it seems to lower the threshold for flushes. So it lowers that level of resistance, which is why when you're in a meeting or you're having a difficult conversation, you seem to have more hot flushes. They come on more regularly or more severe. And this is because, again, we're in that dysregulation. So it kind of lowers you. Imagine you're in the kitchen and you've got 4 or 5 pots on the go and you're getting them all nice, they're all doing really, really well. And then what happens is you're trying to open a packet or something to put it into a pan and you can't get it open. And you're like, oh, I can't get this open. And then you have to go and find some scissors and you get the scissors. And by the time you've done that, all the pans have overflowed. That's what's happening in your body. And so the hot flushes happen more when you're having this kind of stressful situation. Box breathing is a really handy tool. Or what I teach sometimes and often is sort of using your hand as a sort of a breathing aid. The box breathing is when you breathe in and you pause and breathe out in the shape of a box. Well, a rectangle really. So you breathe in and counting is the key. So breathing for a count of 4, maybe breathing out, holding for a count of 2, breathing out for a count of 4, holding for a count of 2. You can increase the in and the exhale. You can increase the hold if you can. Ideally, if you can exhale for slightly longer than you inhale, this will calm the parasympathetic nervous system, it activates the parasympathetic nervous system. I do it with my hand as well. So I will trace because I'm concentrating as well. So for me, it takes my mind off whatever's bothering me. And I will trace my finger along my thumb on an inhale, pause at the top, exhale, tracing down my thumb, pause at the bottom. Inhale for my finger, pause, exhale, pause. You can have your hand on the table. No one has to know you're doing it. No one has to be aware that it's happening. But I can already feel my body calming down just by association with that breathing. And I'm obviously not doing the breathing because I'm talking, but by association, I know that is what I do to calm down. And I'm already calming down. To actually breathe is a lovely way to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, your rest or digest, your calming nervous system. It helps you get back that little bit of control and get back into your body. Really great way of doing it. Really helps reduce the flush. Nobody needs to know that you're doing what a quiet, powerful way to calm your system. Practical tips for day and night as well. So wear layers, wear some layers. If you are finding that you're hot flushing all the time, wear some layers and you can take the coat on and off, cardi on and off. You do feel that you are heating up a little bit and you don't have to make a big deal about it. Oh, I'm having a hot flush, taking my cardigan off. No, just take your cardigan off. Carry on the conversation. It's fine. You don't have to advertise it to the world unless you want to. Cooling pillows, you can get really lovely cooling pillows. I have a cotton pillow, but I make sure everything's cotton. All the bed linen's cotton now as well. My night clothes are cotton, and that really helps me. You keep maybe a fan by the bed at night. It's been hot recently, and so fans in the day can be helpful as well. But remember, it's an internal dysregulation. So the fan is only helping with those symptoms. If you want to stop the night sweats or the hot flushes in the day, it's an internal issue. So you need to be thinking about Am I grazing? Am I having 3 balanced meals a day? What did I last eat? How did that feel? How did I sleep? What's my environment like? Gentle movement can really help as well. Yoga been shown, research has shown that gentle walking, gentle exercise can help regulate that temperature control and keeping your bedroom cool and well ventilated. Not having things in there that doesn't need to be. It should be your haven, is a place where you sleep. It should be peaceful, it should be calm, and it should be cool. Really practical tips. Revive Active, it's a really great moment to say thank you to our podcast sponsors. And Revive Active have their wonderful Meno complex, and it's helped many of my clients. I recommend it regularly. It has a lovely multivitamin sachet, which you can put in a bottle of water, so it helps keep you hydrated. An omega-3 capsule. This is great for our neural health. We're thinking messenger pathways as well. Phenomenal. And most of us need extra omega-3, including me, because I don't get enough in my diet. And also including the adaptogenic capsule, which has things like sage in there and ashwagandha for helping calming. And sage, we know from studies, amazingly, sage helps reduce the incidence of hot sweats. There is very little research around that, but sage is one of the things that we know will help with it. It's a lovely kind of all-round menopause complex. And like I said, you're in perimenopause, possibly longer than you think. So if you're approaching 40, it's not going to hurt. It's got lovely B vitamins in there for energy as well. So it really nice multi with some extra added oomph where you need it, which is what Revive tend to do, which is why I love working with them. You can go to reviveactive.com and use code Wendy10 to get 10%. That's Wendy, WENDY, and then 1010, Wendy10 to get 10% off at checkout. My final takeaway for you is remember, hot sweats and night flushes are not about external temperature. Yes, wear breathable layers, wear cool layers, but it's an internal dysregulation. So when it comes out of the body, what you're trying to do is just manage those symptoms. If you want to help stop the symptoms, you need to think about how you're fueling your body, keeping cool, stress, improving your diet, reducing the amount of sugar, reducing the amount of alcohol, not a party pooper, but remember you are nourishing your body. And so if you're giving it the things that it needs in an environment that it needs, it's going to serve you well. And if you're not giving it what it needs, it maybe is going to go a little bit haywire. Worth noting, however, is that very important, if you have sudden or severe onset of sweats, it can be a sign of infection, or it could be a sign of thyroid problem. So do not ignore them. Do get them checked out by your GP. Let her know what the symptoms are that you're experiencing so she can just make sure, do some checks and make sure it's nothing untoward. You should be doing the healthy diet anyway. You can do the box breathing anyway. You can do all of the things that I talked about regardless, but just get it all checked out. That is it from me for this week. Join me next week when I'll be talking about weight gain in menopause, a common thing that you guys ask me about. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to subscribe. And if you have time to leave me a review, I'll be very grateful. If not, I will see you next week. Take care, guys.